I spent the rest of the ride in silence, just exchanging glances between me and the silver douchebag holding Emily. Emily looked stressed, but she still looked like she was okay. He wasn't holding her tight enough to cut her breathing off. He didn't want to kill her, he just wanted her to stay still. If he were human, he wouldn't have been able to keep his grip that constant. It looked like an iron vice. There was no give or flex to it. He didn't seem to have any problem holding it in that position, regardless of the fact that we seemed to be driving forever. Turn after turn, I felt the vehicle make, driving in countless different directions, speeding up and slowing down. It felt like we were driving forever. I was trying to keep track of where we were by how many turns we made and where we made them, based on the map I had in my head, or more aptly, in Titan's head. But the sudden changes in speed and momentum, the turning and shifting, all of them continued to add variability after variability to the equation of where exactly we were. And eventually, I lost track of it, no longer able to steadily keep a track of where we were. I had no idea. It just became more and more frustrating with every passing moment. These guys knew exactly what they were doing. It felt like we were driving all over the city. For hours we drove. A few times I tried asking questions, get the guy to talk, but it was all for nothing. He was a bit chatty at first, but afterwards he piped up. And if I asked him anything, he'd just tell me to shut up and wait. I thought about maybe trying to go at him, separate him and Emily, maybe a surprise attack or something of that nature. But regardless of how often we ran the calculations or what weapons or choices that we threw into the approximation of what might happen, it all came down to one simple problem. He was too damn durable. No matter what we had, nothing would allow us to attack fast enough and with enough force to ensure that we killed him or separated him from Emily before he could get the job of killing her done. He was too tough. There was no way we could do it without him being able to take Emily out. So, I was stuck. Had no choice but to sit there and watch him hold her, that death grip. Every time I looked at her, there in his grasp, wincing in pain, it made me want to tear him apart. And if it wasn't for Emily in his grasps, I would be. "Oh, you gotta stop giving me that look," he said. "Yeah, I get it. I'm holding your girlfriend hostage. You're angry. You want to do something, but know you can't. It's frustrating for anyone. You're probably thinking of me as some sort of monster. Or maybe just an asshole who's in need of a good beatdown. And you might be right. But the situation is what it is. As I said, I've got no personal grievance against you or the girl. I don't get any sort of sick pleasure out of this. There's no enjoyment in it for me. This is just business. My sponsor has asked me to achieve a goal. This is the most effective means by which to do so. That's all there is. Your girlfriend's cute and all, but unwilling isn't exactly my type. If you have to hold them prisoner, there's just no fun in it. So relax and stop passing me the dirty looks. We'll be there before you know it. And then you and your girlfriend here can have a chat with the boss. What's going to happen from there, I have no idea. To be honest, she hasn't exactly been forthright with me about the details. Why you're so important. I mean, I get the motorcycle and your skills are impressive. But how you're important to her goals, I don't really understand. She tends to keep tight-lipped about things that could be used to leverage her at any time, She doesn't really trust anyone. Yeah, and I suppose she's as cold and calculating as you, I replied, glaring at him. Oh, trust me, buddy. I've got nothing on her when it comes to cold and calculating. Once you meet her, you're going to be begging to have a nice chat with me. 'Cause let me tell you, this bitch puts the C in crazy. Quite frankly, she fucking terrifies me. I don't know what pit in hell that she crawled out of, but the day she did was a sad fucking day for the world. Everything about her seems to contradict itself. She's as pretty as the day is long, but her brain is a bag of fucking vipers. If you even think about trying to figure out what's rolling through that head, you're out of your goddamn mind. Honestly, half the time I have a hard time judging whether or not she knows which direction is up. And the other half of the time, I'm absolutely convinced that she can see the gears of the goddamn universe turning. Like she's got it all figured out, down to the most minute detail. Like everything's just working according to her plan, moment by moment. It's a maddening mix, never being able to tell whether your boss is a genius or a complete and utter lunatic. Or hell, maybe a bit of both. But the power she grants me is real enough. So crazy or not, I do what I'm asked. I've long since figured out, in the end, it doesn't really matter if you're nuts or not. The only thing that really matters is if you can achieve the goals that you set. If you can, then even insanity can become reality. History is written by the victors. Once you're declared the winner and stand at the top of the heap, you decide what justice was, how the story is told. So in the end, regardless of whether you were actually good or bad, as long as you win, you get to tell the story that you were the good guy. It was at that point that I felt the trailer begin to slow, finally pulling to a stop as the horn honked several times, and the back doors of the trailer began to open. Well, what do you know? We're here, he said, stepping to the side of the trailer a bit with Emily. Now, you can go ahead and walk off the trailer. Leave the bike here. I'll follow. And as usual, don't try anything stupid. I tried to maintain my cool, wondering what might be coming next, trying to keep my eyes out, but also keep a focus on Emily. Search for an opportunity to set her free. If I could just get a hold of her, get the hell out of here, that would be the optimum choice. But it didn't look like he was giving me any opportunities. As I looked outside of the trailer, walking down the ramp, I found myself on the interior of a factory. It looked like an old metal factory, somewhere that you melted down steel, but the entire place seemed to have been refitted. There was tech, basically as far as the eye could see, hooked up and rearranged in different places and ways. It was a bit ramshackle and looked like it had been done in a rush, but there was definitely a hell of a lot of tech here. There were lots of people walking around. Some of them looked like they were wearing basic clothing, fairly average in appearance, but most of them were lugging around objects. Some of them looked like they had had strange things done to their body. Arms that looked partially mechanical, or like melted metal, like the guy in the parking lot. Others had different appearances. Apparently, entire body changes weren't all that they did. They apparently did small segments as well. But why? What's the deal? Other than the people lugging around things, there were also people that appeared to be scientists, at least I think. Most of them had lab coats on, and wandered around checking through equipment. typing into screens and interactive displays, rearranging cords, plugging them in from one place to another, and carrying clipboards with information. All of them seemed very busy, hopping from one task to the next, occasionally stopping to talk to one another about something. Thanks to super hearing, I was able to overhear some of it. They were talking about power transfer rates and the current thresholds for the experiment, the damage threshold for the current nanite test subject, adherence rates, biocompatibility readings, and a myriad of other technical jargon that most people probably wouldn't understand at all. But the strangest thing about all of it was there, standing towards the edge of this secret laboratory, was a woman. She had bright pink hair, a dye job. It looked like her original hair was probably brown. She wore sort of a cutesy outfit, a pink skirt, a t-shirt with a rainbow on it, and little kitty cats across it, dancing in the sparkles that came down from the rainbow. A lollipop in her mouth, and a massive smile on her face. And she stood there at the edge of all of this, as if today was just a great day to smile. "Yay! They're here, they're here, they're here, they're here," she said, beginning to jump up and down, skipping over in my direction. "Wow, you're more handsome than I thought. Your pictures don't do you justice," she said, smiling widely, with the lollipop still sticking out of her mouth. "So, I'd like to welcome you to Lab 3. It's not the best lab that we have at our disposal. However, it does have the most room. This old steel mill is a new acquiry. We still haven't set up in full yet. It's been a bit of a rush job. So I'll hope you forgive me if this place is a bit of a mess. But don't you worry, we'll clean it up in no time," she said, grinning from ear to ear, as the silvery-skinned individual approached from behind, stepping a few feet away from me, still holding Emily in his grasp. "Ugh, now what are you doing? You really shouldn't be so rough with our guests, Alan. Look at the poor girl. She looks like she's having a hard time breathing. You just let her go," she said, passing a disgruntled look in the direction of her silver friend, who was apparently named Alan. I don't know why, but that seems weird to me. It was at that point that he let her go without question, stepping away from her and beginning to walk towards the woman. "Now, I know, you probably haven't enjoyed the ride here," the woman said. "And it's not exactly under the most friendly of circumstances, right? You know, the whole kidnapping and the sending one of my guys to rough you up a bit. I know you probably have some fairly strong ideas and opinions towards me, right? But I'd like to introduce myself, still, just to be friendly and polite. They call me Mother. I'm the leader of this organization, but my given name is Victoria. It's very nice to meet you, and you're Gabriel Moon, right?"